The military is a way of life, but what is the actual cost of war? When the headlines fade and the applause and the accolades are gone, are left behind families who learn how to cope with loss and who internalize the true meaning of valor. I'm Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo Story, and today we'll be talking to two extraordinary women and we'll be looking at a new book just out that actually talks about the cost of war. Written by Simran Randhawa, Simran has literally put her own life on the pages of this book. The daughter of Major SJS Randhawa, a Kirti Chakra winner for his gallantry, a life lost in the line of duty, taking on anti national elements. And then the even more extraordinary story of her mother, who became the first war widow to, in fact, join the military at that time, fighting for a change in procedure and reimagining the entire notion of what the Forge calls the Veer Nari. It is my great honor to welcome to the program Colonel RJ Randhawa, who, as I said, became India's first war widow to fight to change the rules and became a soldier herself, and her proud daughter Simran, who is the author of this book, The Cost of War. Welcome both of you to the program. And I'd like to start with Colonel Randhawa, if I may. You know, before you joined the military, you were a Fauji wife, as they say. And that, of course, is a very strong community in itself. But you actually fought to join the military. That's part of the story that Simran captures in her book. What made you do it, ma'am? What made you do it? You had no active military exposure other than being married to a soldier. Why was it so important for you to become a soldier yourself?
Good morning, first of all. My husband was an army child himself, and he loved the Institute of Army. He wanted our daughter to grow up in the same atmosphere. After his loss, I wanted to fulfill his dream and wanted to join this beautiful institute. I wanted to wear the same uniform that my husband died for and serve the same way. I wanted to honor Indian Army.
How old were you, ma'am, when you lost your husband and you decided to become a soldier?
Almost 27 and a half.
And how old was Simran?
Simran was 1.5 at that time.
Extraordinary. Your child was 1.5 years old, and you wanted to go and be a soldier to honor, in a sense, the uniform. Now, Simran, you were 1.5 years old, so you obviously have no immediate memory of that moment. But as you grew up, raised by a single mom, a single soldier mom who had fought to be a soldier, what are your earliest memories of that, and how did your mother's decision shape you as a daughter and as a person?
I think everything that I do in my life has been a testament to the hard work that my mom has showcased right in front of me. I always knew that women were capable of doing anything and everything because I saw her doing anything and everything. I never actually felt that I was missing out on life. I miss my father all the time, but I knew that I wasn't less than anybody because my mom made sure that I would have all the possible opportunities and everything that I ever could desire. I remember when I was younger, my mom would go off to work and she would come at lunch just to feed me. She would go back off to the work, and in the evening she would come and she would make sure that she would spend time with me. She would make sure that any activity that I was involved in, she would go there. She never really sent me off with anybody else. So, like if I went for horse riding, she would be there standing outside cheering me on. Every time I fall, I knew I could see outside and have my mom present there. So I was fortunate enough to see that women were capable of being a mother, a soldier, and an absolute all-rounder. And I think being a woman going in this world, that sort of a role model is something that really shapes you and how your outlook towards the world turns out to be.
Colonel Randhawa, how long did it take you to convince the military to allow you to do this? Because at the time that you wanted to be a soldier, only unmarried single women who did not have children were in fact allowed to enlist in this way. And I know that General Ved Malik and his wife were great support systems at this point. But how long did it take you to convince the military to change the rules and allow you to do this?
Actually, it didn't take me much time because of Dr. Ranjana Malik and General Ved Malik. It became possible within few months. Like I lost my husband in June '97, and in December '97 I was giving my SSB, and March '98 I was in the academy. So you can say hardly it was 3 to 4 months for General Ved Malik to convince the higher authorities to change the rules.
I still want to understand, women are so guilted, especially when we are parents or our children are young. Forget being a soldier, even more sort of peacetime professions, women are made to feel guilty about working and raising children, though I personally think that's very wrong. But you, as a soldier, you just lost your husband in the line of duty. He died a hero for the country. How come your instinct wasn't कि मुझे भी कुछ हो जाए तो मेरी बेटी को कौन देखेगा, which would be in a way the normal human instinct? You were going into a risky line, you were becoming a soldier. So I want to understand what went through your mind at that time, ma'am, Colonel Randhawa.
At that time, I just wanted to fulfill my husband's desire and wanted to serve the nation the same way. This really didn't pop up in my mind that if something happens to me also. मतलब ये नहीं आया दिमाग में. So it was his dream and just to serve the nation.
And Simran, your book talks about the cost of war, and you say that it's okay to actually talk about pain and loss and that sense of dislocation. And we always have, when a soldier dies in the line of duty, and dies a hero for his country, we always have these images of young children lining up, saluting their parents at the last rites. But I think what your book talks about is the feeling that is left behind, the feeling that you grow up with. The military, as I said, is a way of life, but the loneliness, that sadness, that's a human thing, and it doesn't make you any less brave. And I think that's what your book is really about. So talk a little bit about losing your father at such a young age, seeing your mother step into his shoes literally, and becoming a soldier, and what that was like for you as a child, both the good and the somewhat scary.
Well, as you asked my mother about how she might have felt, that if something happened to her, I would have nobody left. Actually, that is a feeling that I resonated with quite a lot growing up. In the beginning, I didn't really realize what was happening because it was all a whirlwind. But I remember when I was in hostel in Sherwood College and my mom was posted in Srinagar. Srinagar is where I lost my father. So every time there would be a news article about militant attacks and pelting happening, I would always fear that I am going to be an orphan. I would feel that I was worried that this is the place where I lost my father and my mom is there all alone. I can't get in touch with her. Cell phone services are down and she's in a military base. She can't call me at my hostel every given hour. And there was this fear that was constantly present. And that fear, it was a tough time for us. And every time I would see her or hear from her, I was just relieved that I still have a mother. And losing your dad at a young age and not having any memories at all with him, it just leaves a part of you that is always missing. You don't really know a half of you, a half story of who you are as a person, and that leaves a hollow part in your chest forever. You don't really get over that. Every time I'm at a war memorial, I see his name, I just start crying because I lost him. And I think that loss stays with you. It doesn't just end at wreath layings. That loss, that's something that you carry with you in your heart forever. And that is what I wanted to convey from this book, a daughter's perspective on losing your father. Because I am proud of him. I'm proud of everything that he did, and I'm proud of everything that my mother does till now. But I miss him, and I wish that he would have been with us. And I think that is the sentiment that moves forward with this book. That cost of war doesn't just end at a soldier. It's a burden that the family carries forever. And I have this anecdote. I remember when I was younger, people would keep conversing with each other and they would have conversations like, Simran was just a child, so she doesn't really remember him. But the thing is, I don't have to remember him to miss him, to know that something is missing. I know that in my heart and I have known that always. So that is the cost of war, and that is something that we live with.
I was going to ask you exactly that you were a year and a half when your father, was no more. Suddenly, he was no more. And of course, he died a hero for this country, a Kirti Chakra award winner. You're obviously very proud of him. But there will be people who repeatedly tell you, how do you miss somebody you didn't know? And I think that what you're trying to say is that you physically feel that there's a part of you and your life
Yes,
that's missing.
because other people have fathers on Father's Day, but my life has been more about death anniversaries than birthday celebrations. I every time it was his birthday, we would know that okay, he would have been one more year older, but he is forever at that particular age. There's Father's Day that I want to celebrate and give something to a father that I can't see. So every year goes by, you might be able to hide it better, you might be able to not cry in public, but that pain just keeps growing every year and it's there with you forever because someone is missing, and you can feel that empty space in your heart even if you can't remember things about them. And I think it gets even worse when you can't remember them because you don't have any memories to hold on to. You can't think that, oh, there was a time that I did this with this person and that is why they are with me. This is just something that you wish, and your life is just left on hopes.
Colonel Randhawa, you spoke about how Major Randhawa, your husband, was, of course, the son of a Fauji, and therefore it was ingrained in him to be a soldier. What about you? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Did you come from a military background?
No, I was from a civil background. My father was in Punjab tourism, so I have never left Punjab um, until I got married. So I was totally from a civil background, no Fauji's in our house. It's a
And
very new experience for me.
and how long after Major Randhawa lost his life in the line of duty did you decide that I'm going to be a soldier?
I kind of decided immediately, but I was not knowing about these lady officers in army. So I discussed this with my father-in-law. Sorry, he again is a retired Fauji. So he told me that there are ladies in the army, but the criteria is like they are 25, less than 25, not married, not kids. So that is how like this came in my mind. We can always go in for try for this at least. So I tried to approach army, and somehow I got connected somewhere late October, early November. I met Mrs. Ranjana Malik, and then she took along the everything with the help of General Ved Malik, and this is how I was in the army.
And did you know what you were in for? I mean, of course, you were a military spouse, but to be a soldier yourself is quite different. Suddenly, the sort of levels of physical fitness, emotional strength, fortitude. You just lost your husband. You had a 1.5-year-old baby at home. You were posted to Srinagar, as your daughter just spoke about. Where did you find this strength from to become this different person, to become a soldier?
See, my strength came from need of the hour, you can say. Like physically, there's no hassles. I was an athlete throughout my this thing, and I had a strong mother. And my husband also made me strong with whatever little time we had together. He always used to talk about forge, forge, forge. So the strength came from him, from my mother. That's how. And fulfilling the dream was more important for me at that time.
Well, obviously, it's generational and genetic because today your daughter gets her strength from her mother. Simran, let me ask you this. I think you've spoken about all the things that the military offers, right? How you learned a different skill from every Fauji posting that your mom had, skating somewhere, horse riding somewhere else, and so on. Talk a little bit about that Fauji life, and the doors it opened up for you. And then I'm going to ask you whether you ever contemplated becoming a soldier.
So I think growing up in army, I had an advantage that is hard to sum up in few words because I not only got opportunities to try different things, but I got the opportunity to experience India as a whole. Like anytime somebody asks me where are you from, my answer is not Punjab. My answer is India because that is true in my case. It's not because I am in a foreign country, but because I am a product of India in its entirety. I have traveled all over the country and immersed myself in the cultures that India has to offer, the rich heritage that we had. I got the opportunity to grow up in it, and that was because of Indian Army. Indian Army made it possible for me to experience different cultures, different heritage, and learn something and carry that thing from different cultures in my life on a day-to-day basis. I got to become an all-rounder because of Indian Army. They offer the opportunity to learn swimming, which I learned in an army swimming pool by my mom. I got to do horse riding. I did all sports that you could think about. I've done skiing in Srinagar and ice skating in Ladakh. How many people can say that they have done all of these things and you could do that in a span of a year? And that is possible because of army. It shapes you. It shapes not just the soldiers but children into like successful adults, because we are capable of getting enriched by a place and also being assimilated into a place in a matter of days. And to answer your second question, I did contemplate to join army. I was actually a student in Canada, so I missed my 25-year age range. But I am trying for territorial army at the moment.
Oh, you are with the TA now?
No, I am. I'm going to be applying for territorial army.
You do want to join the territorial
Yes,
army? Okay, that's
army is
fantastic.
in my blood. I have to be a part of it.
Yes, I can understand that. Colonel Randhawa, I want to ask you today, many years on from the time you had to fight to get into the military and become a soldier, there are many women in the military. You must feel very proud that slowly and slowly more and more rules are opening up for soldiers. And you were a trendsetter, you were a trailblazer. If you had to summarize, what is the Fauji way of life? What has it done for you to be a soldier as a kind of war widow previously? What would you say? Has it given you new confidence? Has it given you new tools to deal with the loss of your husband? What has it done for you personally?
First of all, I really do not want to see more war widows in army. That means no casualties. I really do.
More women, not more war widows.
For more women, yes, definitely. Fauji way of life is a safety and dignity of India. I grew stronger because of my army. I got to be part of my husband's fraternity, and I am really proud of it. And I think all the ladies whom I meet, or the lady officers, they are very proud of the institute.
Of course. And if you, what was your dream for your daughter before I give Simran the last word? What was your dream, Colonel Randhawa, for your daughter? You were a single parent, a soldier, bringing up a child. You were posted in Srinagar. Did you ever sort of worry for her? Because, you had a very tough task. You had to focus. Your priority was being a soldier. And you had a baby back home. How did you manage
I
that?
I managed with the help of, I told you, my army fraternity, my parents, my sister. Uh, Means I cannot sum up this thing. It helped from every aspect. I got good postings. I could keep her till 10th. She was with me. After that, she moved to hostel and thereafter to Canada to study. So army helped me in each and every way, if I say.
Simran, I'll give you the last word. Your book talks about the cost of war, the human dimension. When the headlines fade, when the accolades are all spent and people get on with their lives, it's the families that are left to live that actual life. Uh, you know, what do you think is the best way for you to honor your father? Is it what your mother has done? Do you think of other ways? What do you think?
I think I want to honor my father and my mother for the rest of my life. Everything that I do in my life is geared at one central aim, and that is to make sure that they are proud of who I have become as a person. My father, actually, it was his dream to have a daughter. I say that in my book. I was his last wish that came true. And I want to be the daughter that he would have wished for, the daughter that he could see and be proud of, that, hey, that's my kid. I want to be the child that you would see for Major SJS Randhawa and Lt Col RJ Randhawa. My entire life is aimed at that itself. And the fact that I lost him at a young age means that I have to do as much as I can, because I don't know what he would have wanted from me. So
Yeah.
it becomes difficult. And I say this in my book as well, that Indian Army did not lose any war, but we lost at every war. And that is a price that the families have to bear for as long as we live and beyond. We have to live with that loss.
And you have to live with the fact that when you go to the war memorial, as you said, your father is a name and a red brick. And there was a time when there wasn't even that memorial, and you were just carrying him inside of you. I want to ask you, what is Simran to you? What is the soldier spirit all about? What is the Indian soldier spirit about? What is the Fauji spirit all about?
I have actually traveled quite a lot outside India as well, and I think Indian Army exemplifies valor. We have never been afraid to go to war, no matter what the circumstances were, no matter what the resources we had. When it comes to protecting India, Indian Army would do anything and to go to any extent just to protect India. I think that is what exemplifies Indian Army to me. The ability to do anything for what you believe in. I have
You know,
seen soldiers with limited resources go to Siachen Glacier and protect army there. I've seen them in extreme heat. I've seen them shot and still fighting to protect India. I think that to me is what the uniform stands for.
I remember when I was reporting the Kargil war, General Malik, at that time the army chief, said, "We will fight with what we have," and so they did. Um, I want to give Colonel Randhawa the last word. Your message to all young women out there with stars in their eyes, dreaming of becoming soldiers. You did it at a time when it was extraordinarily difficult. What would be your message to young women everywhere who are your daughter's age?
Sorry, I couldn't get you.
What would be your message to young girls everywhere who are your daughter's age who may have dreams about becoming soldiers?
Be strong and believe in yourself.
You make it sound so simple, Colonel Randhawa, but I'm sure that you would have gone through your own struggles. Your daughter would have gone through her own struggles. And that is, in fact, the subject of her book, The Cost of War. We salute your spirit in particular. I know Simran won't mind if I take this moment to actually literally bow in salute to you for leading the way, both for soldiers but also for women everywhere, including women who are not soldiers, because I think what you capture is a certain kind of spirit that women in any profession can learn from. Simran, may all your dreams come true, and congratulations on your book and your tryst with the TA, with the Territorial Army. God bless both of you, Colonel Randhawa and Simran. Thank you. Pleasure and honor having you with us. Thank you. Take care. Take care. It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.